Okay, volleyball-wise, so we're at a space right now in volleyball where there's a lot of movement happening. College is getting closer to the Final Four and NCAA. Well, the NCAA tournament, and
Yeah.
then which will lead to the Final Four. There's been a lot of upsets this year, like a lot of upsets. I mean, all over the country. A lot of five-setters, a lot of
Mm.
ranked teams losing to unranked teams. What do you think is the reasoning that you're seeing so much of that? Where there was a time in college women's volleyball where it was pretty much you could peg the four teams who are going to be in the Final Four at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and their records would all end up being about 30-1 or 30-2. But now there is a lot more losing happening from better teams. There's a lot more parity, and it creates more interest. So why do you think that is?
I think partially it's popularity in combination with training.
Mm-hmm.
I think volleyball training has gone through the roof in general, but also popularity means that you're bringing more people into the sport, which then starts to make it more competitive.
For sure.
And we can say that same thing on the men's side, right? Like when we were coming out of college, we could have went to Grand Canyon University. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking about that with a few other people. We were like, what? Like, Grand Canyon was absolutely terrible when we came out of college. We wouldn't even take them into consideration. Now,
Right.
Grand Canyon is like championship
Right.
type of squad.
Right.
So it's just getting more popular. And then there's more training. I think there's better training. And then so you're getting more athletic players. And so when it used to be like this, now it's like we're closing the gap because we're more athletic now. And let's say somebody is or a team's having an amazing day at the service line, or offensively they can't be stopped that day. That team is going to beat one of the best teams in the country. So I think those two things are creating more parity in volleyball on the men's and women's side.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I look at it and I see volleyball is a cool sport in this fact. Every set, the score resets. Where basketball, at the youth level, you could be down by 20 points and a lot of teams will mail it in.
Yeah.
They shouldn't, but they do.
Yeah.
And football the same. The score stays. When you come back. So it takes a special, mental presence to go. We're down 17 points. We're gonna come back and
Yeah.
turn this around.
Gonna
Where in
fight.
volleyball, you could lose 25-7, and it's 0-0.
Yeah.
Like you see matches all the time where a team will lose 25-7, and the next set they win 23-25. Like,
Exactly.
all the time. So.
Yeah.
That's what creates this consistency of having to have your foot on the gas pedal, where volleyball has started to enter a space. Like you said, there's more people who can compete, so there's less fear factor. There's less of this like, oh, we're going to play Stanford, so we're going to get crushed. Or we're going to go play Texas, so we're going to get crushed. Like Texas lost 2 weeks ago, and I was looking on the thing and going, Texas was supposed to be like 1 or 2 in the country, and I think they have a bunch of losses, at this point. So you go, and it's like, man, a team who's not even ranked can put themselves in the ranking, and all of a sudden, like, they're up. And when they're up, they're up. So when I look at women's volleyball, it's a really cool thing because, like you said, we're starting to build this more of a grassroots type situation where people can start younger, people can get serious younger. And for a lot of people, they'll go to this angle of, oh, it's too serious. And I go, any other high-level sports like that.
Yeah.
Kids who are serious about going to the NBA, you see them going serious with training when they're 11 and 12.
Yeah.
People who are serious about going to the NFL, they're out like serious in Pop Warner. Like it's regimented. No, you're going out in the backyard, you're going to do this routine. Then we're going to the park. We're going to throw this many balls. We're going to do this.
I think even adding on to that, what I am starting to notice, which was different than before, is you're noticing a lot of like former pro athletes, kids are playing. Yeah, which is completely different. Like when we were playing, every once in a while, we'd be like, oh, okay, like such and such who used to play in the NBA, their daughter's playing, right? Or like now I'm starting to see, and we're starting to see that like we even train kids who like have pro athlete parents or like actors and stuff like that. So there's more like people of upper echelon who have their daughters and sons who are playing, and obviously they have unlimited funds to train them.
Right.
So I'm starting to see that. So I think even that part is adding more to the parity of the game than it used to be.
For sure, 100%. So more athletes, more people willing to put in the time and investment into it. And so speaking of that, now you have it trickling down to the youth. So LOVB, also known as Love, the organization, the Federation Foundation, has been putting a lot of efforts towards building a pro league, building the space below the pro leagues, trying to get people to get in concert together and work together as opposed to like all these little individual companies. Now they're trying to build more like everything's happening like this.
Under one roof.
And they've done a great job. You know, they've gotten a lot of funding, got a lot of branding, and just secured $100 million for youth sports to be able to use. So now you literally have clubs merging. And they're going to start out having these love volleyball teams like Mizuno Long Beach, which is a really historical club here in Southern California, and SCVC, their 18s team is coming together this year to make like the first love volleyball team out here in Southern California. They just got all their gear, all their branding. I trained a couple athletes who are on that team, and it's an exciting time for them. So anybody who's out there wanting to get into volleyball, wanting to put their time and energy behind it, it's a great time. Like it's a growing sport, and it's not how it was before where the growth was just a reach. Now it's getting onto Sports Center more often. It's getting out in front of the eye. Social media starting to pop. It's got influencers. It's got people who are doing it at a high level. The Madison Skinners of the world, the Zoflex of the world. Like people like this are starting to actually have followings and people who want to see what they're doing. And it's big. So volleyball, it's a cool time. So some of the things that people get to watch when they get to watch volleyball, let's list some of those. So from an offensive standpoint, people get to see a lot of high jumping, hard hitting, different angles, different ranges on the game. People get to see setters similar to a quarterback, kind of running an offense and making decisions, trying to engage in trickery and deception. And then from a defensive standpoint, just like you would see interceptions in football, you see digs and you see highlight plays like that. Just like you would in basketball, see big time blocks and stuffs. You see that in volleyball. So the women's game is really exciting because there's less missed serves than there are in the men's game, and there's a lot more rallies. The reason the men's game is really exciting is because of the power and the athleticism, the jumping, the fluidity, the speed. So it's like pick your poison with the games. But volleyball is a great sport right now to watch on the indoor side, on the beach side, and a great sport to be a part of. So you and I are involved in it,
no doubt.
And the people who are out there who wanna see something exciting, like they got to lobby and push for volleyball to get in the media space more often. And the coolest part that I see right now is TV and cable used to command all the space and time and attention on television, but now that we have streaming, anybody can play their shot. Pickleball can play their shot, golf can play their shot, tennis can play their shot. But volleyball now, there's more opportunities to watch it and see it because you can stream it when it's on, as opposed to before when it's just like if you're not NBA, NFL, or MLB, hockey, you're not getting on. And now anybody can play their shot. So that's one thing I really do like about the transition of volleyball right now.
And everything is viewership. You got to get eyes on it. All the college teams or leagues now have their own network, so now you can see everything. And then even in some cases, you're seeing it on regular TV now. Right? You're seeing high-level college games on TV, and you're starting to get more fans that are coming out. I believe the volleyball game that happened in the football stadium. Most attendance.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Nebraska stuff that's happening. Iowa's been doing some stuff like that. And then now they're doing it at the high school. There's two kids who I work with over here who just, Campbell Hall played, I'm not even sure who they played, but Campbell Hall played somebody outside here. Two girls that train, Maya Harris and Layla Williams, who's Candace Parker's daughter. Shout out to them. Like, they ended up having a game outside, right here at the high school level.
Seriously?
Yeah, this year. They did right before Dig Pink happened, they had an outside game. That's Campbell Hall, I need to remember who they played. But, these kids are getting some cool opportunities, man. They were doing it, like you said, at SoFi. I'm just talking about they did that club situation. They had some club teams over there. They had Mizuno and Surfside. And they had some teams over there.
About that. They were like, it was amazing. Like, it was wide open.
I was
like, that's sick.
Yeah, if they can start getting these kids used to and acclimated to those big stages, big arenas, that's big time, Because people used to be playing in, like, these church gyms, like little small tuck church gyms,
Back in the day, before you get that popularity, like I said before, I think we're going to be on a slow growth, very similar to the way MLS was. But I think once we take off, they're not going to have a choice. There's going to be a lot of indoor women's volleyball. And once again, it's clear that on the beach side, it's gotten way more competitive than it used to be.
For sure. And better athletes, kids is training for it. When beach first started happening, it was indoor kids, trying to look for a second opportunity on the beach, And now these kids, it's beach kids, And then it was a phase where it was, okay, the small beachy kids who can't really do it 6 rotations at indoor.
Yeah.
But now there's like physical kids who are like, I just prefer beach more. You know,
you
like
remember how it was for us. Like we played against a lot of people who didn't really play indoor.
right.
They were like, oh yeah, we just never really did indoor, and we just came out and started playing beach, and we got good at beach.
Right.
So now it's like both.
Well, that's the thing. You see with the best players on the men's side, it's always been that way. Like outside of the Karchker Eyes of the world, you look at Phil Dahlhauser, never played real like serious indoor. He became the best. You look at like a Stafford Slick, remember? Like never really like an indoor guy. You look at like some of the better players. If you look at Andy Mole, who does play some indoor, but like they get most of their time is spent on the beach. You know, and they do it from that way. Sean Rosenthal, never really an indoor guy, but just Jay Gibb, never an indoor guy. Because those guys committed right away to learning the beach game because it's a different sport. So now you have these girls who are doing it at the collegiate level, and it used to just be, you know, your big name schools, USC, UCLA, they got the teams. But now you got Florida State's in the mix, Tulane's in the mix. Anybody can win. Well, that's not true. SC's just four-peated. But outside of SC, apparently, anybody can win. Shout out to Dame Bland, my guy. Just four-peated USC, big time. But outside of USC, anybody can win.
Well, once again, the parity piece.
Anybody can take second. Anybody can take second place. So, yeah, I mean, with volleyball, it's a cool space to be in right now.